Tonight on the 10, a Massachusetts lawmaker pushing to designate a dinosaur for the state.
But he's asking for your help.
I think this is one that is generating even more excitement than any of us realize.
The two options the contest is now down to.
We don't normally think about Massachusetts as a state that has lots of fossils or dinosaurs or interesting geology, but it turns out that Massachusetts has all of those things.
And the good lesson behind this paleo proposal, the 10 on NECN starts now.
Well, as a kid, Tim, I used to be pretty nerdy, and I used to get a lot of enjoyment as looking through my little atlas to try to find out which state has the best official bird or maybe a flower.
It is really wild when you think about it, just to see how many state symbols there are. Some of them kind of interesting, I guess. We all know the bald eagle, right, represents the U.S. So how about the state bird? Actually, Massachusetts, Maine, they have the same one. The chickadee is the state bird in both states.
Yeah, that's true. And Massachusetts state flower, can you guess it?
That's the Mayflower.
Yeah, the Mayflower, exactly. It totally makes sense. But some of these state symbols, they're a little more obscure.
Yeah, you know, the state tree in Massachusetts, it's the elm tree, adopted in 1941. The next one, well, that's easy. The state's historical rock. You know it, Plymouth Rock, of course. But, Jackie, don't confuse that with the state rock, the state explorer rock, the state glacial rock. Literally, there are 4 different meaningful rocks in the state.
That is a lot of rocks. But how about the state's folk hero? We have one of those, too. It's Johnny Appleseed. And you can see he's holding a muffin. It's a corn muffin. You guessed it. That's the official muffin of Massachusetts.
Weird.
Yep, not a Dunkin' muffin. We don't know about that. And along for the ride, this little Boston Terrier, the state dog.
That would make sense.
That would make sense, right?
Yeah, I get it.
But there's even a state fossil, which are dinosaur tracks. But what about a state dinosaur?
Oddly enough, nope, we don't have that yet. There are 4 different kinds of rocks in Massachusetts, but 0 dinosaurs. But that could soon change, and that is our starting point tonight.
It sure is.
Yeah, when I first heard this story, right, so you talk about the dinosaurs, and I'm thinking, we already have one in Massachusetts.
Yeah, I bet the people who live in Saugus definitely think so.
You know what I'm talking about. This guy here, the big orange dinosaur right off of Route 1, or formerly off of Route 1. He's so beloved, actually, when that mini golf course was torn down, the new owner promised to keep the famous landmark. But sadly, this towering tangerine T-Rex is not one of the dinosaurs being considered by the state legislators. Jackie, I'm sad about that. I think he wins with those denture teeth he's got.
I really like that guy as well. But instead, 2 much more authentic dinosaurs are actually in the running. And the man who came up with this idea is this guy who sent out this tweet, State Representative Jack Lewis of Framingham. He tweeted out a link to a survey yesterday asking the public to weigh in. And already, after just 24 hours, this survey has gotten more than 6,000 votes, Tim.
Wow.
A lot of people like this. But there are also those people who are giving them a little flack online, and some people are just misunderstanding the purpose of this potential legislation. He says it's all about education and getting kids engaged through a subject that pretty much everybody likes and is intrigued by, dinosaurs.
I'm finding this to be an opportunity not only for me and my own personal interests, but for kids and adults who still like dinosaurs or once loved dinosaurs, and who are interested in not only better understanding the ancient world of Massachusetts, but also for many, how the legislative process works and how their voice can work in that process.
I'm an adult who still likes dinosaurs, but because it's not just about these 2 options of dinosaurs, right? We'll get to the 2 options in a second. Trust me, you've never heard of them either, but you'll hear about them tonight. Lewis says if kids can learn about how a bill becomes law through the process of selecting a state dinosaur, then maybe those students can better understand how more complex laws are made, like education reform or healthcare initiatives. He sees it as a win-win. Already, he's getting hundreds of calls from local schools and teachers who are planning to use this as a teaching tool, and he says he's never had legislations that receive this much attention this quickly.
Some of my colleagues have commented that this may be the one thing that I'm going to be known for a while. And if that's the case, again, happy to be known for connecting kids to the democratic process.
Yeah, so which one of these dinosaurs might people of Massachusetts pick? Like maybe something like this?
It's the green or the red one. You got the 2 options. It's like the Matrix. You got the 2 pill options. How small is this? It doesn't even fit on my hand.
This is a very little dinosaur.
In real life, there are 2 vying for that special distinction millions of years after their extinction. So let's look at their bios. And yeah, they're old. We get it. But you got to swipe right on one of them. We assume that if they were live today and trying to get your attention, they'd hop on an app that we just made up called Carbon Dating. First, we got the Podocasaurus holyokensis. Listen, he's not going to call me and said I pronounced his name wrong. So we'll call him Ken from Holyoke. That's the easiest way to put it. Ken's about 3 to 6 feet tall, weighs about 90 pounds. A little slender there, Ken. He considers himself a meat eater, though. Loves a good steak dinner. As far as interests go, Ken loves long runs, maybe on the beach. Well, that's because he's built for it. His friends call him the swift-footed lizard. Interesting.
Yeah, and then we have Ankylosaurus polyzelus. We call her Polly Z from Springfield. She's more than 6 feet long and about 60 to 75 pounds. She's a strict vegetarian, though, and her favorite meal is probably a salad with tofu, so I don't know.
Right.
Interests playing video games, because apparently this dino has a very flexible thumb-like feature, so she's got an advantage with that.
Clever girl.
Exactly. And in just the first day of voting, one of these dinosaur delegates already had a mega lead. And while he doesn't want to pick a favorite, Rep. Lewis admits the meat eater from Holyoke is his favorite too.
But this dinosaur was discovered in 1910 by Mignon Talbot. Mignon is credited with being the first woman to name and describe a dinosaur. And because of her close connections with Massachusetts and Mount Holyoke College, this dinosaur stands out for many.
So Massachusetts is not the first one to hatch a plan like this. And yes, some states picked actual cool dinosaurs, not like those two. Nothing against them. They're fine, but I've never heard of them before today. So let's take a look at some of the other states with designated dinos. We want to begin with Jersey, oddly enough. Way ahead of their time, going all in on a duck-billed dinosaur years before Jurassic Park came out. They were actually way ahead of this dinosaur craze back in the early 90s. Connecticut, the only Northeast state with one as well, the Dilophosaurus. Both kind of lame, to be honest to me. So who's got the fun ones? Let's go. Actually, you got to go all the way across the country to get that, because you got to go where they actually hung out when they were alive. Colorado, apparently the big one. Stegosaurus, there he is over there. The state fossil there because the Stegosaurus lived there at the time. Wyoming, claiming my personal favorite of all the dinosaurs. They don't ask adults enough what their favorite dinosaur is. The Triceratops is mine. Same reason though. They were chilling in the cowboy state well before cowboys were living there. New Hampshire, if you're listening, no one's got a T-Rex. Still up for grabs.
Yeah,
I think it's an option, Jackie.
I think it's a big option. All big, popular dinosaurs. And to the best of our knowledge, these dinosaurs actually did. They lived in Massachusetts at one point as well. So why aren't we going after the kings of the Jurassic era, right? Well, first, Rep. Lewis wanted to make sure these dinosaurs had Massachusetts roots. And according to one of the paleobiologists he consulted with, Noel Heim from Tufts University, there hasn't been that many dino discoveries in Massachusetts.
You know, compared to some other states, Massachusetts doesn't really have a great dinosaur fossil record. So we only have two choices because there's actually only been 2 species of dinosaur skeletons that have been found in the state.
Now, he said erosion is actually a big problem here, and that tends to destroy dinosaur bones. And we do have plenty of dinosaur tracks that prove that many dinosaurs, and large ones at that, did live in Massachusetts millions and millions of years ago. So with that evidence, why not a bigger T-Rex or a Stegosaurus?
Triceratops.
Oh, Triceratops, sorry.
They get kind of enough attention, so it's kind of nice to give some official attention to some of these really neat but lesser known dinosaurs.
And Dr. Heim also says why those big dinos get all the attention, like my favorite, is the smaller ones that could actually probably live here today if they hadn't gone extinct.
You know, I think they actually both probably do fairly well today. You know, they're both relatively small. I think kind of the ecosystem in Massachusetts is such that it can't really support really big herbivores or carnivores. So I think they both have that going for them. You know, Massachusetts still has a fairly kind of greened, if not lush ecosystem. So there's plenty of food at the base of the food web for our herbivore, and then there'll be kind of plenty of small things running around for our carnivore to eat.
But Jackie, imagine running into one of those on a hike someday.
Yeah, no thank you. And if you want to have a say in Massachusetts' official state dinosaur, we have you covered. All you have to do is head to NECN.com. We have a link on our page so you can read more about each dinosaur with your kiddos. Get involved in this historic selection of a prehistoric creature, Tim.
And the fun doesn't end with that survey either, because that's when the real work actually begins. Even with the T-Rex, the boys' favorite, because students will soon learn about the process as they follow Representative Lewis as this goes through the State House.
Friday, January 15th, I will file a bill based on the results of this survey. Folks have, about 10 days to vote. And it's one line of a bill that we will advocate that it go into state law. And it'll be assigned to a committee. There will be opportunities for members of the community to come in, likely virtually, send letters of support for the bill, and we'll see where it goes from there. But the next step will be to collect all these votes. At this point, over 2,000 people have asked to be involved in the advocacy. And so I will share with them information about how to contact their state reps, how that advocacy works, and then keep them informed as the bill comes before committee.
Now, I know, obviously, one's got Holyoke in its name, and a good backstory, too.
Great backstory.
Seems like the front runner all this. I still vote for T-Rex.
I know.
That's your boys' favorites, right?
Look at it, makes noise.
See, here's the thing, and I've mentioned this like months ago. Adults don't get asked what their favorite dinosaurs are. That's always something the boys have, right?
I mean, and girls, they like dinosaurs, too.
That's true.
So my son's really in them, and I have to say I have a new appreciation for the T-Rex.
I have a feeling that meteorologist Chris Cloninger has a favorite dinosaur.
Yeah.
It feels like he's the type of person who would have a favorite one. Chris, don't let me down on this one.
I'm going to go Velociraptor.
Oh. Stegosaurus.
I would just, yes, absolutely. I was just going to say, Bruno, good job.
Yes,
because they fly like birds. I mean, right? It's kind of cool. Kind of a mysterious dinosaur.